Welcome to this edition of the Literary Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Taora Moody. So excited to have you back for another episode. As promised, I'm not going to always do the talking, so today we have another literary entrepreneur who I'm going to interview today. We're going to be talking about how do you go beyond the book when we talk about book marketing. Before I introduce you to our guest today, I do want to let you know or remind you that we have the Literary Entrepreneur webinar series going on right now at the recording of this podcast. Last week we started the 4-part webinar series. The first one last week had really good attendance. I had really good feedback. And that one was entitled The 7 Essentials for Effective Book Marketing. That replay is currently up. It will come down in just a bit. But if you're interested in seeing that replay, all you have to do is register for the rest of the webinar series. The rest of the webinar series includes 3 other parts. Part 2 actually takes place tomorrow, or depending on when you hear this podcast, on April 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it is entitled The 5 Types of Launch Events. So a lot of people who know or follow me online know that I coordinate virtual book tours, blog tours, all types of chats like Facebook chats, Twitter chats. I've actually done over 150 events in the past 5 years. So if you're curious as to how I put these all together, how do they come about, you can take a peek over my shoulder literally for the next 3 weeks as I walk you through the types of launch events, how you can choose the one that works best for you, what are some steps you need from start to finish, and even after the launch that you need to do to continually having effective book marketing. And then I'll share some of the tools, how do I actually use them. So if you're looking to peek over my shoulder, you have a book release coming up and you want someone to sit you down and really help you come up with a plan of action, go to theliteraryentrepreneur.com and you can register online right now for the upcoming webinar series. Like I said, once you register, you can see the webinar replay from last week. If you're not able to join us live, although I encourage you to join us live because that's when I'll be available for questions and answers. But if you're not available, you can definitely purchase your copy of the webinar series and you can download all the files, all the companion materials, and you can view them, at your convenience. Have it around whenever you get ready to release your next book. You can always go back to the checklist and the things that I include to help guide you through the process. So go to the literaryentrepreneur.com website, right there on the homepage, Spring Webinar Series. Go ahead and register today. All right, I'm really excited because I have a friend and an author who is coming up. And when I saw what she was doing, I was like, I have to get her on the podcast because she's doing something that I think a lot of authors don't think about. And that's beyond the book. That's beyond just telling people to buy your book. But what are some elements or topics or things that you can bring from that book to an audience to grow your platform, to attract more readers and people to what you're talking about, to draw their interest to not only the book that you have out now, but maybe future books that you may have in the related genre. So without further ado, we're going to step in and listen into my interview with licensed dietitian Renee. Welcome to another edition of the Literary Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your host, Taora Moody, and today I'm really excited to bring to you another interview with another fellow literary entrepreneur. Her name is Renee Wiggins, and she is a certified health and wellness coach. Today, Renee is going to come on. She's going to talk a bit about her business and her books, and also about an exciting Tele-Summit that's coming up the week of April 28th, 2014. So we're going to jump right into the interview, and we want to say to Renee Wiggins. Welcome to the Literary Entrepreneur Podcast.
Welcome. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. I definitely am an admirer of yours. I like to see how you're helping people learn how to eat correctly, really sharing information about nutrition and fitness, and something that I pride in, some kind of stress management. So I'm really excited to talk to you today. So before we get into what you do, tell us a little bit about yourself, Renee.
Well, I guess you could say one of the baby boomers, plus I like to do gardening, I like cake decorating, I like to crochet and knit. I occasionally walk. I like to really exercise every day. My main thing in life, personal mission, is to help people achieve a healthier lifestyle. So you might as well say I'm a helper, I'm a giver, I'm a leader, and I'm a woman that's really thrust into the health community to really get the word out about eating, exercising, and living stress-free.
Awesome. And I'm definitely familiar with you from your business. Your business is called Results by Renee, so I can definitely tell you're interested in helping people become better parts of themselves, especially physically as well as spiritually. So tell us, when did you start Results by Renee? How long have you been in business, and what are some of the things that you offer?
I've been in business for over 15 years. It first started as Results by Renee, mostly just personal training. My tagline was stepping into fitness. But as you know, as the years go on, you always add something to it. I met a young lady who was a massage therapist, and for personal training, a lot of my clients came in the evening, and during the days I had nothing to do. And so she taught me how to do seated chair massage, and then I added that other piece. So I had the nutrition, the fitness, and the stress management. And as time went on, I started to develop more and more and add more modalities to it. Results by Renee is encompassed because of working in the hospital and seeing a lot of African-American people come into the hospital and not getting the care that they should deserve. And so I felt for me to go into the community first and teach them preventive methods first. And by learning how to reduce your risk of heart disease and diabetes and hypertension and reducing your risk of obesity, this is one way to reduce their risk of always going into the hospital for their care and teach them to become their own advocate. So that's how Results by Renee really got started. I wanted really to dwell and work into the community and give them the access and the tools to better improve their health.
And so I guess as you were looking for ways to get the word out to the people you were running across with the information that they needed, it seems to me when I look at your website that you found books was a really good way to spread that information. So what was you have several books out and lots of ebooks out as well. What was your first book?
My first book was called Can I Exercise Sitting Down? Because here I am in the 50s, and a lot of my clientele were in their 20s, and they worked 8-hour shifts. And then you got to figure they go to work, and then they come to see me. And I didn't really realize that the concept that, okay, you got to get up maybe 2 hours before you go to work, then you have to be in traffic for an hour, you're at working out, and then you come see me, and I'm hyper, I'm energetic, I want to really work them out. And always they would say, well, can we do this sitting down? Can I do this sitting down? And that's how I developed the first book, Can I Exercise Sitting Down? So when I did develop a program for them of exercises they can do from the chair, they thought they were getting off easy. But Tara, no. I really worked them hard. So they were still sweating and still in pain. And then I said, wow, I should write this as like a manual so people know they can exercise. You don't have to have asthma or be severely overweight that you need the chair. Anybody from 18 to 92, you can still get a workout from the chair. That's how I got involved with Can I Exercise Sitting Down. Then the other books came as more and more I went down, I guess, a different road, or my journey had progressed. I had clientele who would come to me as a nutritionist, and This client, she came in, she sat in, and she realized I was black, so therefore she just poured all her problems onto me, and I just sat there and thought, I am not a psychiatrist, I'm a nutritionist. So after she finished up, she said, whew, I'm glad I got this over. So I realized, too, in order for me to teach people about nutrition and exercise, I have to take the things off the plate to put the good things on their plate. And that's why I developed my other book, Stress Down and Lift Up. It's a 30-day manual of different stress management techniques that they can use to improve the quality of life and to develop a stress-free life.
And so I noticed your latest book that that came out, I think, was last year. But you're really doing a lot of big things with that book, and that book is called Being Fabulously Fit in God's Kingdom. So I want to really, when I saw that you're getting ready to do this big TeleSummit, it's called the Spiritual Body Building, Change Your Mind, Change Your Temple, Change Your Life. It's the 2014 TeleSummit. And I remember when you started with that Being Fabulously Fit in God's Kingdom book. Is this kind of an offshoot from the book, or how did this come about?
This is another part of my life as I guess I'm getting older and I'm waking up with aches and pains. And one time I sprained my ankle in June, and then the physical therapist didn't really release me until September. That's when I realized I'm not as young as I used to be, that the exercises that I could do when I was in my 20s I cannot do now, and how stressful an 8-hour job is. You got to commute. Then you go to work, and then you got to come home. And if your job is very stressful, the least thing on your mind is exercise. So this is another part of my journey that I realized I not only have to be physically fit, but I have to be spiritually fit. In order for me to better serve God, to better help other people, I have to be in that mindset. So being fabulously fit in God's kingdom, 40-day journey to wellness was another avenue for me to teach people that you don't have to look at, well, I got to be a Twiggy size, I got to look like a certain person, that you need to be physically and spiritually fit. That is the book. This one's a 40-day format. The other one was 30. I increased it more because it takes longer for people to accept the idea, to accept change. So spiritual bodybuilding, change your mind, change your temple, change your life, is sort of like a subdivision or a daughter of being fabulously fit in God's kingdom. Is an extension to let people know that there are other people out there that went through the same thing they're going through now, and to help them get through their storms, to help them realize how important it is to feed and nourish this temple that God gave us so we can better serve the people around us as well as serve God. So this is sort of like a daughter of the book, Being Fabulously Fit.
I'm the daughter of the book. I just love how you can go oftentimes with a nonfiction book. You can really go beyond just the book and do things like this where you're bringing in, sounds like, some really awesome speakers for a week-long TeleSummit. So this is starting April 28th, 2014. Can you tell us a little bit about your speakers and what people can expect when they register?
What people can expect is change your mind, change your temple, change your life. It's sort of like a 3-format thing. It's that mindset, It's the woman that had bled for 12 years and she's trying to get through all the crowd to touch Jesus' hem. Well, this is what the program is about. Dr. Kara Davis, an internist, can help you change your life through spiritual secrets to a healthy living, or spiritual secrets to a healthy heart. She's a dynamic speaker. She is a doctor who's studying to be a minister also. So again, she knows about the physical and spiritual and emotional need that we need to nourish this body that God gave us. Then there's Deneen Rogers. She's a master gardener as well as a registered dietitian like myself. In addition, she's also a holistic practitioner and a culture diversity manager. So she takes all that she knows into about gardening with the plants. Planting the right foods, because it also begins in the garden. A lot of our foods are GMO, means genetic modified, altered, or there are, hybrids, and they're just being altered by man-made. But we have to begin by having a garden in our yard, and it's nice when you can pluck your own tomatoes or cucumbers right there on the patio or in the backyard, or raised beds, or if you live in an apartment, in the pots that you had there. It's just very simple, and gardening is sort of like a piece. Elizabeth Madison, she is another registered dietitian. She started out almost to 300 pounds, and now she's down to about 115. So she talked about her weight loss transformation. She's also a social worker. She combined her social worker and registered dietitian skills to help her clients achieve a healthier lifestyle. And then LaTanya Boyd is going to be Change Your Mind. Change that stinky thinking to positive thinking. You know how people are so negative. Early in the morning they get up, you're on the bus, they're yelling at you, or they don't smile, or you got coworkers that just, what's so good about the morning? She's going to teach us how to change our mindset. Remember Joyce Myers mentioned, where our mind goes, where our body follows. So LaTanya Boyd is going to change that stinking thinking to positive thinking. And then Linus Wood Mullins, she's a holistic practitioner. She has been in the health industry for over 20 years. She's coming from a background as a human resource manager. So again, she knows how to manage people's lives, and she's going to be talking about healthy living. And then Dr. Francis, a physical therapist, she's going to help us change our tempo with Exercise Your Way to Healing and Longevity. She's teaching us that exercise is good for our bodies, but also to help us to live longer. And then Jasmine Simone and Margie Simone, they're both sisters. They're plant-based nutritionists, and they're also chefs, and they're going to talk about how they can take any food we know of and make it more vegetarian. And but I've tried their meals, and it's fantastic. It's good. So again, we got the garden, what we're going to do with the food, as well as plant-based diets, which is helpful to help reduce our risk of heart disease and hypertension and other chronic illness. And then lastly but not least, it is me with my book, Being Fabulous Fit in God's Kingdom. I am going to talk about how we can build this kingdom brick by brick by brick. So as a 7-day seminar, it's free. It's online. You can do it at your leisure, but the tapes are only good for one day. So on Monday, they come down, so the Tuesday speaker can speak. It's all pre-recorded. There's no excuse that you could not listen to the tape.
Definitely. I think I sent in my registration this morning, so I'm looking forward to it. I definitely, being a literary entrepreneur, you're always sitting down. I'm always sitting down, either writing or doing some literary services for a client. So I'm looking for ways that I can change my lifestyle physically, definitely eating a little better. I'm very excited about hearing about some of these ladies who have their own gardens and can show us what we can do with some of that food, change out some of that processed food, which I know I'm kind of guilty of eating. So, Renee, I always have to ask anyone who's on here because the literary entrepreneur is about book marketing, which authors just can't stand to do. So, and why do you think that is? Why do you think that most authors, they don't mind writing the book, but when it comes to book marketing, then they start to frown up and not feel too good about that part?
I think with anybody is the marketing is trying to sell yourself. You can sell yourself, and then you get people that push back because you probably oversell. And then you undersell, and people want to know more. For me personally, when I try to sell, people kind of like push back. So I've learned to, I guess, undersell, and I shouldn't do undersell. I have to find a medium. We're not taught that process. We figure, okay, I wrote the book. An agent guy, they go to it, they're supposed to do it for you. No, they're not. We need to focus on marketing, and we need to find what we call a book marketing coach to help us focus on marketing. I'm just learning now, and I know from the first book I invested in a PR person, but she didn't go over too well. And then the second book, I stepped out a little bit more, and with the third book was even more. And now with this last book, I really learned how to market it more than I did from the first. So that's either blogging, through the internet, it's signing, it's going out and letting people know, it's doing speeches. So it's a constant thing. It's not, okay, I wrote the book, here it is. Nobody's going to know who you are and what good service you have or what you got to offer if you yourself don't get out there. You yourself got to think that you're number one, that what you have to give birth to that baby can help a lot of people, but you got to go out there and find those people, and you got to really market to those people.
Oh, I so agree. And I think you're doing a fabulous job with this TeleSummit that's coming up on April 28th. folks who are interested in the Spiritual Body Building TeleSummit, which has got the tagline, change your mind, change your temple, change your life, you can go to resultsbyrenee.com and register right now at this podcast you're listening to. And Renee, will they be able to register, like if it starts April 28th, can they still register even after April 28th?
Right, I'm allowing that to register afterwards. I'll close the registration probably for the 4th day, but they can register and it's free. Now, if they want to buy the tapes, they can also buy the tapes earlier at a discount price. But they can register even on the day of, or even on the 2nd day or the 3rd day, because the idea is you can listen to these tapes at your time. It's not live, it's pre-recorded, so when the tapes visualize at 8 in the morning, you can listen to 8, 12, 2, 4, 6, or 8 at night, but it will come down, and then the next day we have a new tape. So it's 7 dynamic speakers, 7 good tapes, 7 good topics, and 1 for each day of the week. You can't beat that.
No, you can. I'm looking forward to tuning in as well. So, Renee, I want to thank you once again for coming on the Literary Entrepreneur Podcast. I also want to wish you many blessings on the upcoming 2014 Spiritual Body Building TeleSummit. That starts on April 28th. I look forward to, hopefully, many people will be registering and tuning in that week, because we all need, especially now that it's spring, the winter is finally gone, yay! Now that it's spring, I really want to focus on how we can be more nutritious, definitely build up that fitness, and less stress, so we can enjoy the weather, the spring, all the great things going on right now.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad that you did. You have been a blessing, and all my other book coaches and other people that are around me have been blessing me. And therefore, I'm going to hope that, I am blessing you too. So I want to thank you. And April 28th, I look forward to everybody.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Entrepreneur Podcast. Renee Wiggins is doing some fabulous things when it comes to marketing beyond the book. Actually, not just telling people to buy your book, but actually giving them good, solid information that is growing her platform and growing herself as an author so that she can attract more readers to her books. So I just want to close out by saying, first of all, if you've missed an episode, we're on episode 6 now, you can go to the literaryentrepreneur.com/podcast to view or listen to any previous podcasts. So I'm going to close out by saying, just as a reminder, you're more than an author. You are a literary entrepreneur. Writing and marketing books is a business. Let's learn how to tell the world about your book together.